This whole FTX Sam Bankman-Fried stuff is a disaster. I was on the fence on whether or not I wanted to even try to untangle it all to put a decent story together. But of course, I had to dive in when I started to notice headlines saying that the company FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried himself, and his parents all owned around $300 million worth of luxury real estate out in the Bahamas. Now, it doesn't come as a surprise that Sam owned a bunch of real estate. I mean, he was worth around $30 billion or so at the peak of his success. Plus, it's also not a shocker that he owned real estate in the Bahamas specifically because this region is pretty famously known as a tax haven. But I didn't expect FTX to be buying up this much property because that's not exactly what big companies do, especially big companies that have only been in business for around 3 years. In today's episode, let's talk about what the heck is going on with this whole FTX debacle, and then let's dive into exactly where these guys were buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth of real estate literally all over the Bahamas. So this story is all centered around a guy named Sam Bankman-Fried, who is otherwise just known as SBF. He co-founded a company called FTX back in 2019 with another trading firm called Alameda Research. FTX was a cryptocurrency exchange, which is a platform that allows you to buy, sell, and trade different cryptocurrencies. And if you wanted to, you could keep your crypto right there in the exchange, similar to how you keep your money in a bank account. If you haven't traded crypto before, just picture FTX as a place where you could move your regular dollars into. Then with those dollars, you could buy different crypto, like say some Bitcoin. Then with FTX being an exchange, you could then exchange that Bitcoin for another crypto if you wanted to, like Ethereum or Dogecoin or whatever. If at any point in time you didn't want your money in this crypto anymore, then you also had the option to exchange this crypto back for dollars at any point. FTX was a very popular crypto exchange for people who did invest in cryptocurrency. They were actually the third largest exchange out there with over 1 million total customers. And back to the founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, he was famously very casual, often wearing shorts and a t-shirt, sporting a big head of curly hair, and driving around in an old Toyota Corolla. Behind that casual nature though, Sam was also very calculated with the way he ran his company, how he was spending the company's money, and how he was spending his customers' money. Everything seemed to be fine and dandy with FTX up until recently when a little bit of drama unfolded between FTX and another cryptocurrency exchange. And amidst all of that drama, a lot of holes in FTX's financials were exposed. In what seemed like a matter of no time, the FTX company was proven to be a huge scam. Sam Bankman-Fried stepped down as CEO, and FTX went on to file for bankruptcy. Now, for those of us like myself who are not super into the whole cryptocurrency scene, it didn't seem like the end of the world that one of the cryptocurrency exchanges was about to go under, but it quickly became apparent that this actually was a really big deal, with analysts comparing the FTX collapse to be as severe and catastrophic to the Enron bankruptcy and the Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme from 2008. It turns out there was a lot of skeletons in Sam Bankman-Fried's closet, and he wasn't the kind, loving genius kid that so many people thought that he was. The most messed up part of all of this is you would have thought that the CEO of the third largest cryptocurrency exchange would have been pretty financially well off himself. But what has been surfacing lately is that customer deposits were actually being misused by Sam for trading and other things, which begs the question as to whether or not a lot of this real estate that they were buying was actually bought with money pulled straight out of customers' funds sitting in the exchange. The bulk of the real estate owned by Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX, and FTX employees was located in the Bahamas on the island of New Providence, where the capital of the Bahamas, Nassau, is located. They were buying in luxury condo communities in Old Fort Bay, which is a large private gated community on the northwestern part of the island. They also bought real estate in One Cable Beach, which is a luxury condo complex on the north side of the island. And last, where they parked most of their money was in a resort called Albany, which is a luxury resort community sitting on 600 acres with hotel rooms that start at $3,000 per night, and then residences for sale that range from $5 million all the way up to $75 million. In Albany alone, the property is loaded with accommodations. They have a championship Championship Golf Course. There is a 71-slip mega yacht marina right off the property. And for other amenities, they have a tennis court, several swimming pools, shops, a movie theater, a wellness center, you name it. Now, reports are all over the place on exactly how much real estate these guys owned because the ownership was under FTX themselves, but also under a bunch of different other associated entities. But Reuters says that SBF, his parents, and FTX execs bought at least 19 properties worth around $121 million over the past 2 years. And attorneys for FTX say that one of the company's units spent $300 million buying properties and vacation homes in the Bahamas for its senior staff. Now, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes for a minute. I mean, it's one thing to have a crook like Sam going rogue and spending millions of dollars on real estate in the Bahamas, but what I can't believe is that his executive staff and his parents were also in on it. What? Now, as you'd expect, with Sam owning so much real estate in the Bahamas is where he called home, right in that Albany resort that we were just looking at. What's kind of funny, though, is that this 30-year-old man was actually living in a $40 million penthouse here with 9 roommates. Yes, you heard that right. 10 people living in one condo. The names of the people who lived with Sam Bankman-Fried have mostly been kept private just out of fear of harassment, but one person described this whole FTX living situation as just an operation run by a gang of kids in the Bahamas. Frightening. We can't see inside the penthouse that this FTX crew lived in, but I found another penthouse for sale in the same building. So check it out. First of all, the architecture on this place is pretty awesome, and you can see from down here that the penthouse units up here all have really massive patios. Speaking of the patio, so here's a photo from up there on the patio looking down over the marina, and you've got this cool little triangle-shaped pool on it. Here's a few shots of the great room. So first you've got the living room area, obviously with a big wall of windows looking out over the view. And then flipping the camera over to the right, that wall of windows continues along the dining room and the kitchen. This place has 5.5 bathrooms in total, so that means 1 bathroom for every bedroom plus a powder room. Some of the bedrooms aren't that big, like here's one, for example, that's staged as an office. But here's another bedroom in the corner of the unit. This one looks like it's got more space and it definitely has some awesome views. Okay guys, so obviously this would be a pretty cool place to live. It's a nice condo and it's pretty big at about 7,200 square feet, but 10 people living in this single apartment sounds a little bit cramped to me. Along with owning property in the Bahamas, FTX and its affiliates also own property in Florida and in Japan. And all of this is just, as far as we know at this point, there's likely way more money stashed all over the world. Some reports are saying that there could be as many as 1 million creditors who surface as a result of this bankruptcy, and many of those would be current customers and former customers of FTX. And a lot of money was lost here, guys. Billions of dollars worth of customers' funds have disappeared, which also will probably continue to add up considering Sam allegedly recently transferred at least $10 billion worth of customers' funds from FTX to his trading company, Alameda Research. It'll be years before we see the total extent of this damage, but no matter what way you cut it up, it's not going to be good. And at this point, it's hard telling exactly what's going to happen with all of this real estate that this company owned, but something tells me that through the bankruptcy proceedings, it's going to end up selling for pennies on the dollar. If you were a victim of the FTX scam, I feel for you, and I really hope that justice is served. I'll see you guys next time.